Okay guys, so welcome to my next paint night. This one is going to be the dragon. And I'm just going to go through really quick what you're going to have in your kits. So the first off is we're going to have our picture that we're going to be doing. Now as always with these kits, this is your painting. You can do whatever you want. You don't even need to do this picture, but you will be limited by the colors that you get in this kit. So just keep that in mind. So everyone's going to have a picture of what we're painting. You're going to have your canvas, and this is the same one that you can put your name and information on the back. You will have 2 paint brushes. You're going to get a stencil of the dragon because we don't expect you to be able to draw this if you're like me and you're not that great of an artist. So here's a stencil of the dragon. And then you're going to have 5 cups of paint. I'm not going to waste these little cups. I'm just going to go directly to the source. But you're going to end up with 5 colors, black, red, white, yellow, and orange. So those will be in these cups. I do recommend if you have a paper plate or some wax paper or some saran wrap that you can put your paint on while you're mixing. I recommend that. And then always get yourself some paper towels and then some water to rinse off your brushes. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, but first I'm going to go ahead and get the plastic off of my my canvas, and then we'll go ahead and start painting. Okay. So there is one thing I noticed that I tend to do is put the camera on the right hand side, and since I am right-handed, you can't see what I'm doing. So I quickly moved the camera around to the left side so that you can get a better view of what I'm up to. So I'm going to start from the center of my background, and I'm going to get the colors in, and then the dragon is going to be the very last thing that I do, and I'm probably going to do that tomorrow because I want the paint in the background to be completely dry before I put the dragon on with the stencil. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and just grab the white, grab a little bowl here to pour it in. So I'm just going to do a quick little white oval in the center. Okay. And then from there I'm going to just work with the yellow and the orange and then fade in to all that red. And the cool part about this white part in the center is that you can make it as big as you want, and then you can go back in with the yellow and make it smaller, and I'll show you how I'll do that in a minute. But just want to make sure that I've got enough paint on here. Okay. Okay, so for now, I'm going to let this dry completely before I start putting in my details. So if you want to take a break, this is the perfect time to do this. You can end here for the day, come back and finish anytime. These videos will be online for quite a while. So just getting some of this excess off the side. Okay, so I am going to leave this here for now, and just going to let this dry so that I can start going in and putting in that swirly detail that's in the background. Okay, so you can take a break, start this again tomorrow just like I'm going to. Just let this dry a little bit. Okay guys, so I've got this all nice and dry. So what I'm going to start doing now is going into the background and making all of the swirly patterns. So if you can tell, I'm going to bring this a little closer. You know, my paint didn't dry perfect, and that is actually what I need because of the swirly patterns in the background. So this actually is going to help just make this not look like a solid red background. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to mix up some different shades of red and orange and yellow, and I'm just going to start doing my swirly patterns. So I kind of feel like this is like a sky or something, so it's almost like the clouds are swirling with a little bit of like plasma or something coming off of it. So that's what I'm going to do right now, and then we'll let this dry again, and then we'll get out the template, put on the dragon, and then make the dragon silhouette. Okay, so right now with my blending, I'm starting to run into a little bit of trouble. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here for the day. I'm going to let this dry a little bit so that I can come back in and get these swirly patterns that I want without really getting too much interference with all the red paint that is still wet. So one thing with painting is that, you know, layering is a really good idea. So you can switch between painting a little bit, you know, then letting it dry and then coming in with a new layer. And that's basically what I'm going to try to do to get this swirly pattern. So, you know, as you can tell, that, you know, I'm not a professional artist, obviously. It's just something that I kind of dabble when I want to meditate, or just out of sheer boredom, or, you know, just wanting something to do, especially during the winter. Anyhow, I'm going to let this dry so that I can come back tomorrow and work on it a little bit more, so that I can get that swirly pattern that I'm looking for without really getting too horrible, which is what it looks like right now. It's pretty awful, but we're getting there. So just layering. Okay guys, so I'm gonna go and I'll see you tomorrow. Hey guys, welcome back. So I let this dry overnight. So now what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm going to start putting in some of the lighter details in our background. And we're going to hope that these horrible lines can get mixed in and camouflaged with what we're going to do today. So this is probably not going to be one of my best paintings. I will admit that I am struggling with this one a little. You know, I'm not a professional. This is just for fun. So let's just get into it. And I'm going to start getting some lighter colors of orange and yellow in here. Kind of mix it in a little bit with the white. This is supposed to be sort of a swirly mass. So let's see if we can make this work. And a lot of these colors I'm going to use today, I'm probably going to water down a lot because I kind of want them to be a little bit transparent. So we're just going to get into it, and I'm going to have the video going a little fast today. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just getting some plain red and I'm watering it down a little bit. The dark lines that I made in the background are just way too dark, so I'm putting a watered down red over it. And I started here in the area where the dragon's going to cover it, just because I wanted to see what it was going to look like, and I like this a lot better. So I'm going to do this to the whole painting. So this is just basically watered down red because these dark lines in the background are just way too dark. So I'm going to just doctor that up a little bit. So I'm just taking a little bit of red and some water, and all I'm doing is just watering it down. This actually looks pretty darn awful. What do you guys think? I am doing a horrible, horrible job today. I think at this point, my painting is kind of a lost cause. So I think what I might just do is just show you how to put on the dragon and call it a day. Because this is pretty bad. I hope yours is turning out better than mine is. Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry a little bit. I'm gonna grab my stencil. I'm gonna put the dragon on here, and then I think I'm just gonna put him on and call it a day. All right, we'll be back soon. It's just gonna let this dry so that I can put the stencil on. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so I got this dried, and I'm about ready to put on the stencil. So what I recommend, instead of laying the stencil down and trying to paint over it, you can do it that way. However, if you put on too much paint or you don't have these pressed all the way down, what's going to happen is the paint's going to go under the paper, and when you lift it up, it's going to be all smudgy. So what I recommend is just grabbing a pencil, tracing the dragon, and then just very carefully with the black paint and the really small paintbrush with the smaller tip, just color in the black, so just color in the lines. So I'm just going to do that right now. And just get yourself a really sharp pencil and then just trace them. All right, so there we go. Now I'm definitely going to bring my picture out here so I can see it better. I want to see that dragon, so I know exactly where all the lines need to be. All right, so grab your black. And I'm just going to find an empty spot somewhere. How about right there? Okay. Now when you need to make your paintbrush, with a finer tip so that you can get into those little nooks and crannies, what you can do is get paint on your brush, take it to the side, and kind of give it a twist, and that will help you make a sharper point. If you have a really terrible paintbrush like I do, you can always grab a pair of scissors and sort of cut it at an angle so that you have a nice tip. But I'm just going to start putting the black in. Now also, while you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're covering the pencil with the black paint. The pencil will stand out if you don't get just right up to it and you leave a little pencil mark, you'll notice it. So try to go over the pencil mark, but don't go beyond it. I just took a pair of scissors and I cut my paintbrush so it has a very, very fine tip so that I can get around these edges. All right, so that should work a little bit better. Okay, so I think that's about as far as I'm going to go on this painting. Obviously, I did a really horrible job. I hope you guys have a much better time doing this than I did. So I just have a feeling that my background, my red, was just way too dark and just would not blend the way that I wanted it to. But, oh well, I'm not going to go any further with this. So I hope you guys have fun making this painting. I hope that you're better artists than me. So anyway, I'm going to leave it here for now. And I hope you guys had fun. I know I did, even though, you know, it doesn't turn out so great, but it's still fun. And, you know, I'm still going to put my initials on it, even though I think I did a terrible job. But that is okay. All right, so happy painting, and we'll see you next time. Bye.